wanted to talk about the weather that's set to hit Northern California tonight throughout tomorrow. The storm is supposed to be pretty bad. We got assaulted with a storm a few days ago. It did a lot of flooding, a lot of damage, a lot of downed trees. Just on my way home after midnight the other night, I had to go around 6 trees that were laying across the road. The roads were flooded. The road, so I couldn't exactly just drive off to the shoulder and go around the trees that easily, and it was really hard to see the lines. If you are getting off of your shifts, just be aware that you may face downed trees and downed power lines. I had 3 separate areas where power lines were on the ground when I was driving home during that storm. And then once the storm subsides, the fog becomes a real bad issue. Last night driving home, the fog was intense. I could barely see more than 25 feet in front of my car, and had to go really slow. And there were a lot of people that had their high beams on coming the opposite direction, made it extremely hard to see anything at that moment they were passing. So guys, just be really careful with that. Let's talk about the storm tonight. So we're expecting some extremely high winds. We're expecting a deluge of rain. We're expecting flash floods in certain areas, especially lower elevation areas, because all that water hits the hills. It runs down the hills. It collects in lower ravines and valleys. And then once it all joins together, it becomes a pretty powerful force of rain. So stay out of the low areas, guys. Try to stay on high ground. For those of you who are posted outdoors, I know it's not recommended to sit in your cars, but in this sort of situation, I recommend sitting in your car and just keeping your surroundings, be aware of your surroundings. It's going to be raining pretty hard, so it's not likely that there's going to be coming out there to your property, but just be very careful. If you get a chance before your shift, and you haven't done so already, go buy new wiper blades for your windshield and put those on ASAP. Also, before it rains and gets wet, go get some of the Rain-X and put it on your windshield and then buff it off so that the water slides off, and you can do it on your side windows and your back window as well. That way you're able to see very clearly all the way around. The water will just slick right off the windows. Buy a plastic poncho if you don't have a raincoat, preferably one that has a hood. That'll keep you your upper body dry. I don't recommend getting the ones that go down to your knees because it blocks your duty belt and blocks you from being able to get to your tools on your belt. So try to keep it at waist level. You can also buy pants, waterproof pants that you can pull up over your duty pants, and that'll help keep your lower body dry as well. Bring an extra pair of socks with you to work. If you don't have waterproof boots, this little hack you can do, you get a plastic grocery bag, cut off the handles if the handles are up high. You pull that up over your sock, and then you use some duct tape to tape it around your calves or above your ankle. Not too tight, just enough to keep from sliding down, and then you pull your shoe on over that. That will keep the water off your socks, off your feet, help keep your feet dry and warm. I know it sounds kind of whack, but it works, guys. And plus, nobody's going to see it because it's hidden underneath your inside your boot and under your pants. So it works, guys. I know it's kind of, sounds a little ridiculous, but it works. Let's see, what else can we do here to be prepared for this storm? Make sure your flashlight's charged up. Have a backup flashlight, even if it's just a cheap flashlight. Make sure you have a backup flashlight. Have a small flashlight that you can tie a lanyard to, so that you can hang that around your neck, so that if you're having to be out in the open, or if you're in anywhere where traffic may come through, you can hang that flashlight on your back with it on, so that it lights up your backside, makes you more visible at night. Or if you're wearing one of those like plastic yellow ponchos, you can put that on the inside of the poncho, and it'll light up the poncho yellow, and it'll make you more visible. Just some safety tips there. Trying to think of some other things you guys can do. just be really careful, guys. The wind is going to be bad. You know, be careful when you're driving. Drive really slow. Watch out for puddles. If you see water running across the road anywhere, be very cautious about crossing it, because many times what can happen is the dirt and the base underneath the asphalt washes out and then causes the road to collapse, and pretty soon you have a pretty deep canal running straight across the road. And that has caused quite a few cars up in my area to get washed off the road and then flipped over upside down into the water. One guy near Modesto was following a big rig through very deep water on Highway 99, and the truck was making a wake and basically separating the water for the car to drive through, but then suddenly the water rushed back in and consumed this man's small car, and he got trapped in his car, and then the car filled with water, and he ended up dying. He drowned, guys. He couldn't get out of the car because the water was keeping the doors from being open. He was stuck in his car, and he perished. Really sad to hear. Fortunately, not too many people perished from the storm, but he did. A few people up in my area got washed off the road. Their cars got washed off the road, flipped upside down. Fortunately, they survived. There were some people that their cars got washed off the road into the rivers. A family got rescued with kids out of the river. And then immediately after that, in the same location, somebody else tried to bypass a road closure sign, and he got swept off the road and he had to be rescued. So just be careful when crossing any rushing water, guys. You know, this storm is set to be pretty dangerous, and you know, things can happen. So just be aware, keep an eye out. You guys, if you're protecting properties, keep an eye on the roofs. Look at the drains, the rain gutters. If they're not flowing, that means there's a blockage, which causes water to build up on the roof. And then, you know, let the client or your manager know right away to contact the client so that the roof doesn't collapse or cave in. You know, just be vigilant of these things. If you see storm drains clogged up with leaves or whatever, if you get the chance, you can always sweep the leaves away to help the water drain. But just be vigilant and be aware of these type of things so that the flooding doesn't occur on your properties. Just be prepared, guys. Make sure your gas tanks are full. A lot of power gets knocked out, and when the power gets knocked out, you won't be able to fill up. The gas stations need electricity, so you won't be able to fill up your tank. Bring extra waters and extra food with you. I know I sounds like I'm just being a little overzealous on this, but I'm just you know, I just like to be prepared for the worst possible scenario. You know, a lot of us may not experience that worst case scenario, but if you do, it's best to be prepared. And if you're not experiencing that situation, at least you got a little extra food for your next shift. You know, just a couple things, guys, I want to throw out there. When this video is done here, it's going to go into my channel, and if you want to leave some comments, if you're watching this after the live is over, leave some comments about some things that you would suggest to be prepared for, and that way other people can see those comments and they can also help get a little better prepared. I work in a hospital, so we expect to see a lot of homeless come in to try to get out of the rain, and that's pretty common. But you know, I've noticed that a lot of the homeless, especially in the area that I'm working, they're not stupid. They know this storm is coming, and they've prepared. You know, those guys are survivors, and they prepared already. They usually have some sort of a shelter arranged that gives them a little bit of protection from the wind and the rain. I saw some homeless camps that were completely underwater. The tents were sitting there staked down to the ground still, but surrounded by at least 3 feet of water. Went back the next day, and the camp's still there, but everything's washed all over the place. It just flooded like crazy and washed everything away. So guys, just be really careful, be vigilant. Watch out for falling power lines. Watch out for falling trees. That's one thing I wanted to bring up. If you park your car somewhere, do not park under a tree. Park excuse me. Park somewhere far enough away from the tree so that if the tree happens to come over, it doesn't land on your car. We've had quite a few people tell me that has happened to them recently. I've had a security guard that I know tell me that they parked their car in a parking lot, and they were inside the building, and when they came out, the tree had fallen on top of their car. So stay away from trees, guys. Park out in the middle of the parking lot, away from anything that could fall over. That way you still have a vehicle when you get off your shift. And yeah, if you guys think of anything else, throw it in the comments. Appreciate it. You guys out there, stay safe, and let's ride out this storm and come out on top of it. All right, catch you later, guys.